Today, we're taking a look, we're, diving deep into yesterday's outdooring of Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh as the running mate for Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia of the NPP. And it was a long day. It started with an official introduction to the Otumfuo Osei to the second, after which there was a grand event that took place at the Menhia Park, basically. And there were lots of people who were there to celebrate and commemorate with the NPP and with Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh. So we'll get into that, especially based on, the speeches that were given yesterday. Very pertinent is the fact that yesterday, the Otumfuo also admonished NAPO to not allow that tag of arrogance to stay or to fester. In fact, he told him to do everything he can to ensure that that tag disappears. But a number of people are saying that just a few hours after that advice was given to him, he seems to have done the opposite of what he was expected to do in terms of the speech that he gave yesterday. And so we'll get into that. And then later, we'll also go into the president's speech yesterday, because he was also there and he spoke before Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, and NAPO also spoke. And in doing so, he referenced the statement that was made by former President John Dramani Mahama with regards to the free SHS and the fact that he said that free SHS started with him and the NDC and not the NPP. The president had something interesting to say about that as well. So we'll take a look at that and really get an understanding of the way forward with regards to these matters. Malik Basintale is the NDC Deputy National Communications Officer, and he joins us this morning. Again, another nice shirt. Good morning.
Good morning, Bella.
How are you doing?
Like Bernard would say, yeah, could be better.
Could be better? Could
be better.
It's because you didn't go to Kumasi yesterday?
It's because what I watched further derailed my efforts, further sank my hopes, and shattered virtually all my aspirations, at least.
You had hope in the NPP?
At least. I'm saying that for the next 5 months, I expected that at some point in time, somebody ought to have changed.
I see.
Somebody ought to have told me something that will hold me for the next 5 months. But as I sit here, I feel condemned for the next 5 months as a Ghanaian youth. And
you wanted assurance from the NPP for the next 5 months?
For the next 5 months.
And you didn't get that?
And I got nothing.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely nothing.
Well, you hold on with that. We'll get into it so you can explain exactly what you mean by that. But Mr. Bernard Mona also joins us in the studio. He's a former national chairman for the PNC. He's looking to become the flag bearer for the PNC and hopefully become maybe the next Kwame Nkrumah. Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Morning.
It took you quite a while to respond to me. Did I say something offensive?
Not really.
Okay.
But the atmosphere is polluted.
By who and with what?
By the choice of pronouncements by the running mate to the NPP flag bearer.
Okay.
It's like toxic.
It's toxic?
Very toxic.
Based on what NAPO said yesterday?
Yeah, very toxic.
But is that all you're getting from the event? This was like a 5-hour more event.
I also want to wonder why, in particular, John Mahama was the subject.
Oh.
Because Akufo-Addo took an issue with John Mahama. Bawumia took an issue with John Mahama. NAPO cemented it with John Mahama.
Okay.
I thought that they were carrying the crown and all others were trying to catch the crown from them.
So they shouldn't have referred to him at all?
So if speech after speech, it is that you are giving credence of the formidability of an opponent, then you will have many opponents.
I'll let you hold on. I'll let you hold on to that.
I just felt that the event was a beautiful thing. Okay. There's no doubt about it.
Okay.
And I was wondering whether any one of us could pull the can of royal gathering
that he pulled.
Well,
I'll let you hold on. I'll let you hold on with that. This is just intro, by the way. Also joining us via phone, I believe, is Professor Godwin Eche Sika Anku. He's an international media, political and communications analyst. Good morning, Prof. Thank you for joining us. How are you doing?
Good morning, Bella. Thanks for having me. I'm doing pretty well by the grace of God. How are you?
I'm good, thank you very much. We're hoping that you could join us in the studio, but we're still grateful that at least we can hear from you via phone. First of all, I'm sure you also monitored the outdooring event yesterday as Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh was officially presented to the Otumfuo and to the Ashanti region, and by extension, the rest of the country. What are your initial thoughts on the event in totality?
Well, it's a very major event in our democratic history. The outdooring of a vice presidential candidate is a very important act because it's one of the major decisions that a candidate is going to take once he's selected as the presidential candidate of the political party. One of the very, very major and decisions.
Prof, I'll need you to be a bit more audible. I barely can hear you.
Oh, all right. Well, so I'm going to start again. The first couple of things I said was that it is a very significant moment in our democratic history because the selection of a vice presidential candidate is one of the major decisions a candidate will take when he's selected as the flag bearer.
Okay.
That's one. Secondly, it's a very important decision also because the position of the vice presidency has become a very, very consequential one in the broader rubric or dynamic governance in our country. It can be a very useful and productive position. And so to that extent, I thought it was a major milestone in our party, in our country's history. The NDC political party did BS. The NPP did BS yesterday as well. And so for me, it was once again democracy at play and an exemplar of what liberal democratic practice should be.
It wasn't just democracy that was at play. Royalty was at play in full as well. And many people were wondering why such a big event was put together for the running mate. Is it because he's also royal, or is this something that usually should happen for either flag bearer or a running mate?
I didn't get that question. Please, can you repeat it?
So I'm asking that you talked about democracy being at play, and I said yesterday there was also a display of royalty. And for many people, they're asking that question that is it because Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh is from the royal home, which is why an event as grand as this happened yesterday where he was outdoored to the Otumfuo, or is this something that usually should happen for either flag bearer or a running mate?
Oh, well, I mean, it's a very interesting dynamic of a certain fusion of royalty, a certain fusion of traditionalism, of culture, and also politics at play. And we have a very unique democracy, and it's very important to recognize some of the various ways that our democracy plays out, the position of chieftaincy, and particularly the very important position that the Ashanti plays within the broader history or the broader social, political landscape of this country. And also for the fact that Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh also is from that particular region, has a relationship with the Ashanti as well. So you kind of rule out that factor. But I do think that the institution of the Ashanti transcends that particular region. He's played a very major role as a peace broker in very different capacities in this country.
Okay.
And so once it comes to play that there is a certain relationship that the VP candidate has with that particular institution, it was not avoidable that that particular dynamic would play out on an occasion like this.
All right, I'll let you hold on for me because I want us to go back to what the Otumfuo 32 II said, when he was addressing the party and Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh in particular. And he gave him some advice. I've listened to you talk about the fact that it's been overplayed, belabored, the fact that, there's that perception of arrogance. But yesterday, the Otumfuo touched on it again. And for those who have not watched the video yet, let's go back to that, listen to it, and then play back something that Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh also had said when he officially had the chance to address the crowd, which is why many people are saying that he went against that advice that was given to him by the Otumfuo. Take a look.
Emma Dr. Bawumia no ho so yi wo. Emma no ho so yi wo. O kwaya no kwaya sompa na di na chi na de obekire wo na wo so ye. Fa ho brase kodi akire na ye ne kama mame. Ya sitie na de ono bekire wo na ye. Eba ye ya senkropo bi se wani nso ade me se akwalai me chichi no ofie ma hunu sa ade enti na na ye ka sa. De ye ka no media mesa wuti sente sa e ma ne nye ho.
Anadia be yi bi hwadi. Samunua na aba o. Me se dai. Munua na aba. Someone coming home and said Dr. Bawumia and in a Otumfuo do animonyama e bi nyadai en kame. Eti yeba sum. Yeba kofiafiem. Ako chena na do Otumfuo do nyamopo ye. Ama Dr. Bawumia eneti. Dr. Bawumia tibi be chena aka se ye to abaman. Yam pass 70% do charge we jiro. Mutie president Minister Ka say ade wo fear here. Yes, ade wo fear here. Ade wo fear here. Ade 85%. Yeah, pass 75 di bio. Me see ya per day 85%. Me see ya per day 85%. Outside you be 85 no. And then pay for the man master there. Obia wo MPP mu. Ah o sin fie nwotwi. Obia ne bone. Obia ka say tia no. The BBS sinti on TV da no. One kai so straight chi nya da. E dey. O si chi nya da ho dey dey. Mesramo. And then the be yi bi hwadi. Samunua na aba o. Me se dey. Munua na aba. Someone coming home and said Dr. Bawumia and in a Otumfuo do animonyama e bi nyadai en kame.
All right. Well, we were trying to juxtapose something that he had said yesterday, where he was also seemed to be taking a swipe at the Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, with regards to the achievements of the current president, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Dr. or Professor Echesi Kanko, let me come to you again briefly before I go to my guest in the studio. Now, I've listened to a political communication strategist who said that, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh gave credence to the arrogant tag by taking the swipe at Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, especially a few hours after the Otumfuo had admonished him to not allow it to fester. What do you make of this? And is this going to, in the long run, affect the chances of the NPP?
Well, that's the candidate and how he chose to put it. At the end of the day, on an occasion like this, some candidates tend to be very fiery. They tend to be very, very forceful in their presentation. And sometimes it's easy to get carried away. When you listen to some of the incest that was played, there was a certain appeal to, I believe, the youth, saying that for the youth who want to believe in a certain future, there's the government for them. At a point, he also said they should bring honor to Nana Akufo-Addo and the vice president by voting for them. He also said something about it's their own person who are Kamunya Naba. He also said something about if something is in their home or something, something coming from your home is good. So I do think that he tried to make a play, mostly because of the audience that he was speaking to appeal to them in a certain way. Definitely, on occasions like this, it's very easy to sometimes get caught up in the event and get caught up in the moment. So we just wait to see what happens on the campaign trail. But I would not, get too much into the nitty-gritties of that for now. We just hope, I'm just waiting to observe further.
Okay.
He's waiting to observe further how this plays out.
When you say that he probably got caught up in the event, at a point where the moment his name was mentioned as the running mate, the tag came along with it. Should he not have been a bit more careful in his utterances, just to not also, reinforce that perception?
Well, like I said, the position of the second person on the ticket is very, it's a very complex one. When you look at someone like Rigathi Gachagua, who is a VP to William Ruto, he seems to be cast in the mold of a very fearful, dynamic, very direct, no-nonsense kind of person. And people have different personalities. I remember when Obama selected Joe Biden, one of the main reasons that he gave for selecting him was because of his energy, because of his electrifying nature, and because of his magnetism. There was a lot of jokes, all over the place about the way Joe Biden was quite verbose, and he was always saying more than he should say. And that's one thing that comes along with it when Biden was elected. So, these things are not new. They do happen with some of these positions, and sometimes you get caught up in it from time to time. But it's the beginning of the campaign. Hopefully, as the campaign goes on, the candidate and the ticket themselves would try to observe it and see how best they can mitigate that situation.
All right. Thank you so much, Prof. But just hold on for me. Let me come to Malik, because I also want to pick your thoughts on this. And again, let's just play that video. Apologies for not being able to play it earlier, but this is exactly what Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh said with regards to which president has achieved the most in the history of Ghana's independence.
Abakosama, President Kufuor to call retirement. But to be said, who said a free state Ghana from 1957. Ebekane, your president be our Ghana Chen and Ado Dan Kufuor. Messi a free 1957. Bekane, Mofamo Kwame Nkrumah, Mofamo. Obia di wa abadi mampanya wa boga na ho ban e de Ghana kona nim China na do dankwa Akufo-Addo.
So a number of Ghanaians seem irritated by this statement. In fact, if you look at our Facebook stream, majority of the messages are not too happy with that statement that he made. Malik Basintali, I want to find out from you. Especially when the Otumfuo had given him that advice, do you think that what he said was distasteful or not? Or maybe he was caught up in the moment?
Bella, first of all, yesterday, I decided not to watch the show. I did so because I have followed many shows or programs of the NPP in recent times. And I end the show virtually hearing nothing. And so I had decided that I wasn't going to waste my time watching their show. I was going to leave it like that, go about my normal activities in search of bread and butter. But at a point, I listened to the revered Otumfuo. In fact, I saw an infographic that had stated that Otumfuo had advised NAPO to be humble. So when I saw that...
Is that what... that wasn't the advice. He said that he knows him to not be arrogant. And so if that perception is there, he should not allow that perception to fester.
Yeah, nobody trains a thief to become a thief. In fact, you will hear people saying your son is a thief until one day they catch him and they bring him. So what Otumfuo said was that, I did not train you. He had every right to say that. Every parent will tell, in fact, even Atayi's father will tell you he did not train Atayi to become a thief. So after I saw an infographic of Otumfuo advising him and said, go and be humble, I then tuned in and I said, let me listen. Bella, less than 30 minutes after that royal advice by a king's man, a revered chief like Otumfuo, I saw arrogance in human form. You see, my father used to say that if you catch monkey and you bath monkey and you do monkey makeup and you put lipstick on monkey's mouth, it is still monkey. What you were born with, you cannot change from it. NAPO mounted a podium, displayed arrogance in living form, virtually did not express any compassion to the people who were even listening to him there.
How so?
And you see, Bella, sometimes I ask myself who the MPP think their audience are anytime they speak. 3 months ago, you and I, together with all well-meaning Ghanaians, listened to Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. And during her outdooring, at least, if not for anything at all, she expressed compassion to the plights of suffering Ghanaians. She spoke on gender issues, remember. She spoke on socio-economic issues. She professed solution. She outlined the problems we found ourselves in. And she gave us a clear roadmap. Any contractor who was watching Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman could immediately feel that this is the woman we had been waiting for, if not for anything at all. At least 1 million women who were watching Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman heard that upon assumption of office, there was going to be a women's bank that was going to give them loans.
This was during her second address.
That was her outdooring. It was the outdooring at UPSA. That was when we outdoored.
So that was the outdooring?
Yes,
okay.
Same as what
but
NPP
before
did.
that, okay.
The same as what NPP did. We outdoored her at UPSA. She didn't rally. She didn't whine and dine. She didn't shout at anyone because she felt that her audience were respected people and people who wanted her to inspire hope. And she did so. Compare that to what we watched yesterday. Yesterday at a point, I just bowed my head down. And I said, look, you, some of your colleagues in the media fraternity, had already advised us that NAPO was one step away from exhibiting his true traits. Look, may the soul of Dr. Nkrumah rest in peace. I have repeatedly said that a nation that does not honor its heroes is not worth dying for. At least, if you don't have anything for Dr. Nkrumah, don't desecrate and denigrate him in the manner in which you did. Look, even if NAPO had no respect for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, he should have respected his own President Otumfuo. He lambed Otumfuo, lambed Buzia, lambed all of them together. Even your Nkrumah. Wow. Our own Nzema brother, Dr. Nkrumah, after all he toiled and did for this country. Look, the ministry NAPO mans now. In fact, what he meant, the biggest achievement under that ministry, the Akosombo Dam, was sunk by Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. But for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, he, NAPO, wouldn't have gotten a job to even be energy minister. And you have the effrontery, the impudence, mount a podium, and then instead of professing solutions, all you do is to exhibit full arrogance, exhibit ignorance garnished with gargantuan arrogance, show traits of some, as if you were speaking to, excuse me to say, people who could not reason.
But Professor Eche says that he may have been caught in the moment, and so we shouldn't hold him.
Professor Eche, I don't want to address him. He's written epistles praising Dr. Bawumia. He's a known MPP man. Leave it at that. That is opinion.
I don't think he has come out to say that.
No, I can read some of his books he's wrote about Bawumia.
But if he's authored books, doesn't mean that
praising
he's
Dr. Bawumia. So today he won't change his position on that. He's a well-known MPP person. I don't want to go into that. But you see, whenever we get an opportunity to be on a platform, let us remember the caliber of persons we are addressing. If your father advises you to at least be humble, you don't embarrass him in that manner. Yesterday, after I watched them, I listened to other speakers. And you see, Dr. Bawumia has repeatedly proven that he will never hand over his record-holding title in lying. Any opportunity he gets, he will lie to the Ghanaian people. Yesterday, how can you compare your warped, failed economic record to that of President Mahama?
He says, bring your records.
And our record is that we didn't give the Ghanaian people haircuts. Pensioner bondholders were being paid under the NDC. We didn't go to the IMF in an ambulance amputated, where tariff adjustments are being done on a quarterly basis, recklessly. We didn't borrow 600 billion, in fact, 680 billion under our administration. It never happened. We never sold a gallon of petrol at 100 Ghana cedis. It was sold at 13 cedis. Debt to GDP never crossed the threshold of 60%. At the point in this country, debt to GDP was 104%. And so, we never changed the dollar at 15 Ghana cedis or 16 Ghana cedis. Never in the history of this country. And the NDC we changed for 4.2 cedis. Which record is he comparing? Dr. Bawumia has repeatedly demonstrated that title of being a liar, he will never hand over. But you see, interestingly, Bella, was the statement of Mr. Akufo-Addo. Otumfuo in 2021 said Dumso had affected him to the extent that his home appliances were being damaged. This was Otumfuo. Then President Akufo-Addo, you get an opportunity at his palace and you look straight in the man's eyes and say there was no doomsday under MPP. Are you calling Otumfuo a liar? It simply means that Otumfuo lied. You look in the face of Otumfuo, who had been crying over doomsday, and you tell him that, look, there was no doomsday. Look, MPP virtually went to Kumasi to embarrass Otumfuo. They went to Kumasi to insult the Ghanaian people. They went to wine and dine, and sometimes I ask myself,
went to galvanize the base. How do they intend to galvanize the base by insulting them?
How do you galvanize the base without professing policy? How do you galvanize your base without giving them solutions?
Are you not jumping the gun? Maybe they have a different plan as to when they intend to put out their policy.
So in other words, you are saying we should accept the arrogance now.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
So I'm only saying. I'm
asking you that. Are you not jumping the gun because you're not privy to their plans?
Okay, so we should.
So what if they have another event?
Another event.
What if?
But at least we agree that this one was insulting. This one was a demonstration of opulence. This one was a demonstration of arrogance. And NAPO has decided, look, that character has said he will never change.
All right.
He will continue to be arrogant. He will continue to be clueless. He will continue to be ignorant in his own incompetence. And at the end of the day, virtually proving that we should expect nothing from them.
All right.
I will urge, and landing on this, I will urge all well-meaning Ghanaians, please and please, never waste your precious time listening to Dr. Bawumia, who is a liar, and listening to NAPO, who is arrogant.
All right.
Listen to a nation builder like John Mahama. Listen to a nation builder like Professor Nana John Opoku-Agyeman.
Okay.
And that is where you can find your hope.
Now, Bernard, before I come to you, so what we told you, Edie says that, good morning, Bella. Good morning to the listeners and viewers. With what I have seen and listened from the NAPO introduction, nothing good has come out of it. I have seen nothing, and I don't think anything can be changed about NAPO's behavior and character. That's what he says. Now, we also have another message, and it says that Cornelius says they have other videos that your camera didn't capture. NAPO is naturally arrogant. That's what you think. Okay, come to think of it, what's wrong with what he said? How many years and resources did Nkrumah have to rule as president? Today, go everywhere in this country and there's ambulances. There are hospitals being built in every district. There are factories built and there's free education for the future youth. So there's divided concerns about what he said yesterday. From where you stand and knowing also very well that you also derive a lot of your political history from Dr. Kwame Nkrumah Osajefo. How did you feel about that statement that was made yesterday?
It's not good for me. You know, naturally, I don't carry my phone on set. What made me to carry my phone on set today, I can't explain. Then I'm there and my auntie sends me one of the most devastating news that I could ever hear. But I noticed that she was calling me repeatedly. And so I sent her a message that I'm on TV3. And then this is what she says. Dr. Jedere has passed.
Dr. Jedere?
Yeah, has passed. And for many who know who Dr. Jedere is, he is one of the few legends that was trained outside of Ghana in Italy. And upon completion of his course of study in Italy, amidst the request to work in Italy, he returned to Ghana and went straight to the Upper West region, not even in Kolebu, to go and work. Until the coup of Rawlings came in 1981, and he went into Burkina Faso, where he headed a district hospital. Soon after things normalized, when he was coming to Ghana, the Burkinabes would not permit him to come. He came and worked in the Upper West region throughout his life. Growing up as a young man, I watched, because we stayed in the hospital yard in uncompleted buildings, Dr. Jedere using torchlights, flashlights, to do surgical operations of complex nature. torchlights because electricity was by generator by then. He dedicated his entirety to serving the people of Upper West Region and Ghana, recognized globally by the church, the Catholic Church that he belonged to, and knighted by the church.
Are we linking into the conversation, or this is just...
Can I...
Okay, we don't have much time, which is why I'm asking.
I will make your point for you.
All right.
So, receiving this news on my phone has just disrupted and devastated me. So, permit me, if I don't flow the way I have to flow.
My condolences.
Permit me if I don't flow the way I have to flow. Yesterday, I have been very keen. In fact, when I was told that the running mate of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and the MPP was going to be outdoored publicly, and that the event was going to take place at a park, I thought that they got it right. That will ensure that everybody that mattered in the New Patriotic Party will be there. That it will rejuvenate the party. And more importantly, that they were going to do this in front of their big house. And to do so, naturally, they will have to go and pay homage to the Asante-Hene. So I was like, wow, how am I also going to outdoor my running mate? And which chief is going to welcome us? And which chief is going to say my running mate is the child? Because listen to Otumfuo yesterday. I was like, okay, chiefs don't do politics. But Otumfuo gave us an inkling as to why he did politics yesterday. He said that if they say that you should not be jealous of your rival, it doesn't mean that you cannot raise your eyes, close your eyes when your rival is passing.
Oh, so that's what he meant. I still didn't get that proverb when he said it.
Do you understand?
Okay.
So don't be jealous of your rival. But when your rival is passing, at least looking at her with some queerness and maybe puffing and all that, you could do so. It's acceptable. So they say chiefs should not do politics. But not when my son is involved. That is the bottom line of what Otumfuo said. And in saying so, Otumfuo said that this is a man that I birthed with his father. I groomed him. I paid his school fees all the way to the medical school. And the training I have given him, arrogance is not part. Then comes to admonish him. Don't give the presidential candidate, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, any opportunity to regret naming you. What did Otumfuo know? To tell the people of Ghana and to tell NAPO that don't let Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia regret choosing you as his running mate. There is something. You know, chiefs, they speak. And they speak with wisdom. So there is something that he knows, that he said that, look, don't let the man regret taking you as his running mate. That is one. And I think that people should underline the point there. Two, he said that training you, I didn't teach you arrogance. But people are saying you are arrogant. Why are they saying so? So it means that you have departed from the training and trainings that I have given you. So please, go out and work in such a manner that that which people perceive you to be, you are not. Then the big platform was provided. Then, pow, the bullets are gone. I don't know how anybody can redeem. Look, Akufo-Addo did everything to undermine Kwame Nkrumah. In order to undermine Kwame Nkrumah, they appointed you as Minister for Education. You developed a curriculum that virtually obliterated Kwame Nkrumah's record So now we understand why you were made Minister for Education. You did everything, so much that the founding of our nation, Kwame Nkrumah, look, did a tactical job by crafting and piecing this country together. You know that we had the colony, we had the territories, and then, of course, we had the Togoland Volta. You know that? Were they all part of the colony? How did they become part of Ghana? There was Ashanti, which was not part of the colony. How did Kwame Nkrumah bring it together? You think that Akufo-Addo, a divisionist like this, is capable of putting together?
Why do you call him a divisionist?
Oh, you don't know?
No, I'm asking why you call him that.
You don't know Akufo-Addo is a divisionist?
Why
a man who takes every opportunity to attack chiefs from other parts of the country? A man who sees his own as superior than any other in this country. So therefore, Akufo-Addo could not have pieced this country, put it together in a single mat as Kwame Nkrumah did. Today, when it is getting to elections and MPPs in office, we always hear about the Togoland Volta, the secessionists. Why? Because if you still go to the Nakpanduri area, the plebiscite that took place, look, Ghana did elections, first elections of our independence election in 1956, not 1957.
1956.
1956 was when the elections was done. But in order that Kwame Nkrumah will take time to assemble what now has become Ghana, he had to delay the declaration of that independence till 1957. So there will be a plebiscite to determine the joining of this other part to Ghana. And that starts from all the way from Volta region, goes through Northern region. Yendi is part of the Togoland Trust.
Okay.
All the way to Bunkurugu, all the way to Kwekpra. That stretch was under German control. It was not under British control. It was not under the French control. You should just sit down to understand the mastery of Kwame Nkrumah, of how he was able to get these people to become Ghana today. So you don't take Kwame Nkrumah lightly in the scheme of doing things. Look, the United Nations, the United States, and the international community decided that they will recognize Nelson Mandela, even when he was alive. And that they will make Nelson Mandela the icon of Africa. BBC, that is opposed to Kwame Nkrumah and what he stands for, decided to do a poll. At the end of the day, Kwame Nkrumah was declared the African of the millennium. Mandela was alive. With all the things that they did to package him, to present him as the African that we should worship. When Mandela was personally confronted, that how do you feel that with all the things that we have credited you with, the world continue to praise you, your peaceful nature and what have you, that Kwame Nkrumah, who died several years ago, still beat you? His response was simple and profound. Have you asked me who I voted for? That is the character that somebody who owes his university education to the works of that man will come and say that the man did nothing. Kwame Nkrumah established the University of Science and Technology where you, NAPO, you obtained your degree. So where probably would you have obtained that your degree if Kwame Nkrumah did not put up that education? And for us of northern extraction, it even begs the question. Take all the educational institutions, particularly secondary institutions, and if you check the record of the expansion, because education reluctantly was sent to the north for obvious reasons. One, the northerner was perceived as intelligent and too smart, and that when given education, they would prosecute the removal of the British faster. And so they decided to stay the northerners from education. So we were the hewers of woods and drawers of water. Worked in the forest where we were sometimes attacked by lions and other wild animals. Worked in the gold mines where our brute strength was required. Worked in the cocoa farms so as to feed the desert needs of the white man. So Kwame Nkrumah won and decided to expand the frontiers of education to the north. So check most of the secondary schools. They are in their 50, 60 years. Whilst education has started, secondary education has started in excess of 100 years, ours, in fact, some of them are in 180 years. We, in the north, we are now in 60 years of education. You cannot come and compare Kwame Nkrumah to anybody. Look, in South Africa, because, in fact, globally, anybody that is coming to Ghana, there are probably 3 persons' names they will mention. As soon as you talk about Ghana, they talk about Kwame Nkrumah. They will talk about Abedipele Asamoah or Michael Essien. Yeah. What next? What next? When President Akufo-Addo got to Cuba, he had to go to where they honor Kwame Nkrumah to go and lay wreath and praise Kwame Nkrumah. It's a situation where you don't like or you abhor pork, but you take the soup. You destroy Kwame Nkrumah, but when you go outside, you praise him. I was in Mali when General Francis, he was the ambassador, appointed by, he became National Security Coordinator. He appointed by President Akufo-Addo. When I went under the Pan-African Federalist Movement as the coordinator for West Africa, met with Pierre Buyoya and others. At that place, look, the ambassador got up, and as soon as I said, look, this is my ambassador, he must sit close to me. The whole crowd said, oh, Ghana. The ambassador said, look, the way the Malians worship Kwame Nkrumah, if Ghana could worship Kwame Nkrumah a quarter, our tourism would be something different. Everybody coming from the diaspora, they want to see the great man Kwame Nkrumah. And there we are. There we are.
Could this affect the chances of the NPP, looking at the statement that has been made?
Not only will NAPO's statement, you know, I thought yesterday was his big day. And that is why President Akufo-Addo had to speak and bring in the vice president. The vice president then spoke and handed the mantle to NAPO. This is your day. Speak. Otumfuo said, go and tell your own why they should stick to you. And then the man just went and took the scissors, cut everything into pieces and threw away. Are
you saying that there's nothing Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh said yesterday?
Let me tell you,
that could have resulted with
the event was colorful, beautiful. I was threatened until the speeches started. And I was threatened, particularly listening to Otumfuo. And Otumfuo saying that this is my child, this is my son. I took care of him, I groomed him, I have paid his school fees, I've done this and this and this. So in the end, he said that they say chiefs should not do politics. It's a case where you are telling me that I should not be jealous of my rival. But you cannot stop me from winking at my rival. That's what Otumfuo said. And so, yes, you say I should not do politics. Maraba, not when my son is going to become vice president, then you say I should not do politics. So I have done it, permit me. This is what Otumfuo concluded on. And I thought that if I were NAPO and I went onto the podium, the least I could do was first, the man said, go out and tell people that you are not arrogant. Why are they saying so? So you take your time, take control. Yes, yesterday, you pointed out that you were the most excited and overjoyed person. But does that mean that you should miscommunicate? Then the second point, final point.
Okay, please land for me.
Is where I thought that my brother, the vice president, maybe people should advise. You have your campaign to run. Run your campaign. But anytime you are running your campaign and you are referencing somebody that is coming for your trophy, that it means that you are afraid of the person.
Is it what he said?
You are in the lead.
And not the past?
You are in the lead. If you are an athlete and you are in the lead. And instead of concentrating to finish the race, as you are running, you tend to see who is at your back. The amount of energy that you tend to look at, it draws you back and allows your opponent to catch up with you. So I would think that, look, Nana Akufo-Addo is hesitant. There is no doubt. In a few months, Nana Akufo-Addo is called former president. Don't follow his way of communicating.
Okay.
He can decide that there's nothing at stake. I can take on. But when Nana Akufo-Addo says that this is a man I have defeated before, and somebody I have defeated, I will not hand over power to. How many times was he defeated?
He shouldn't have touched on that at all.
No. How many times was Nana Akufo-Addo defeated in his bid to contest for Ghana's presidency? President Kufuor defeated him in primaries. Jonathan Mills defeated him. Jonathan Mills defeated him. Not so. John Mahama defeated him. And he came to defeat John Mahama. So it doesn't make logical sense.
All right. Well, let me just also remind you that this morning we're going out to Okankwe Central constituency, precisely La Paz Kaneshi Station, for this week's edition of Community Manifesto. And Roland Walker will be interacting with some residents and locals within that community. And so when we're ready, we'll cross over there shortly to get an understanding. Okay, let's quickly just go there, get an understanding of what the ground looks like before I come to Malik to continue the conversation. Take a look.
That is able to handle passengers who are going to and from La Paz, right into Tema, and subsequently and back. So this is part of Community Manifesto. We'll be bringing to you all the live conversations in the next hour. And we're live here. Wherever you are, just around the La Paz station, you're just a commuter or passing through, you can also come and touch base with us. We'll be speaking to a number of varied people, just ordinary Ghanaians, ordinary voters, ordinary members of the public to get to gauge what their own concerns are. Let me just try and tell you what we've made by way of the arrangement. We have a number of people who are providing security detail, personnel from the Ghana Police Service who are also available here. I also have those who are the makers and shapers of the transport industry, not only in Accra, a number of them are also here. And so I'll be speaking to a number of them as well. We'll be speaking just basic tree and then getting the interactions done. We'll speak Gam wherever it is possible. But let me just give you a sneak peek of how the sentiment Mechawo at saying. Saying. Now, say, you know, Bosome, about 5 months, be a bit me a general election, no, presidential and parliamentary. What in threat our home at the say?
See, the American share Ghana for you and say, Obia, we share send an Yamako, no fun and into form, and son or better one, Mobia around too.
Speak to this personality, Brad saying, everyone saying, okay, Chairman Richard, come before Chairman Richard, yes, probably, what's in fan? Well, I say, yeah, you know, here, at the end of the 2 trim, so who could vote to December 7 now. And answer what the buyer, a dear Obeshe and Sana, with me, a Cotuabano.
Apologies for that technical hitch, but we will go back much later where Roland will be interacting with some residents within the Okankwe Central constituency. He's actually at the La Paz Kaneshi station at the moment. And so if you find yourself around that area, just head over, try and locate the TV3 team and be part of Community Manifesto for today. But Malik, I'm coming to you. And, you know, as much as we're touching on this issue of arrogance, we've heard from some political analysts who say that we're belaboring the point when we keep focusing on that. Dr. Asante, for example, says that when it comes to elections and the things that people look out for in order to vote, character is not part of the political literature. So why are we even focusing on that? Because that's not what's going to determine who gets what vote.
Yeah, but the question here is, what is going to determine? That's the question. And if there's anything in what's going to determine to be discussed, we will definitely do so. In fact, when NAPO was bathed at Otumfuo's palace, they took him there to sanitize him, cleanse him, and he ended up dirtying himself on the platform again. When he was being bathed, he was told one sentence. Otumfuo told him, go out there and tell the people why they should vote for you. Wasn't that what Otumfuo told him? Tell me a single thing he told the people. When he met them, he met Ashantis. And in fact, he said, Modie Naba. In fact, that was a highly tribalistic comment to have made. I have never heard President Mahama stand anywhere in the north to say, vote for me because I am a northerner. You determine your brother by what he has done for you. And so the people of the north don't need to know that President Mahama is their brother. They only need to look at the Tamale Teaching Airport, the Tamale Airport. They only need to look at the Tamale Teaching Hospital. They only need to look at projects President Mahama brought, like the Fofoso Solar Road. And they will know that indeed our brother is fit for purpose. When NAPO had the opportunity, tell me what he told them. He stood there and denigrated Nkrumah. Is that why they should vote for you?
But he talked about the Ghana card and, even referenced England and the fact that Tony Blair now has told the new Prime Minister, to focus on getting Ghana card for, not Ghana card, UK card.
So Ashantis should vote. Ashantis should vote for him because Tony Blair had told the UK Prime Minister that he should get a card.
He says that when it comes to digitalization, Ghana also has.
So how many projects did he tell the Ashanti region that I am your brother? When I became education minister, this is what I did for you. When I became energy minister, this is what I did for you. So on the backs of that, vote for me because I am your brother. Did he tell them that? He stood there and was displaying arrogance.
He talks about the BC and the fact that, that money that you have to pay before you can write the BC, that's been cancelled. WASI as well, students who could not pay their school fees, the best
BC resource in the history of this country was under the tenure of Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. In fact, BC first went private under Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman in 2014, where people who undertook BC could now register private and right. And so if these are records you are counting, then you are a failure because all these achievements were done by your opponent. And so virtually there was no story for NAPO to narrate. And for all those calling on us not to discuss his arrogant nature, please, you cannot be president when I cannot approach you. Yesterday, there was a video of NAPO walking from the palace to the platform. And a young lady standing there attempted approaching him. I can send the video to you if you don't have it. If you looked at the way NAPO arrogantly dismissed her.
I saw the video, but I really couldn't tell what
I'm telling you why.
Causing.
I'm telling you.
Is there another video that shows the other angle?
I'll share it with you. As if the lady was virtually nothing. As if she was not fit for purpose. He said, get out there.
Is that what he said?
Look, so when you do your hand, so what
but is that what he said?
Frowned his face, was walking as if the people around him were not human beings. These were MPP people.
Honestly, I haven't seen the other angle because the angle that I saw, I really couldn't read his lips. I wasn't sure what was happening, which is why he was signaling. I could tell that he was signaling someone. But I will not be able to sit here and say that he was trying to kick another woman out of the way or whatever.
And virtually expressed some level of arrogance again, just on his way. Just when he was neatly bathed, dressed, powdered,
Malika, so you have the full understanding of what's happening on the ground. You cannot also attribute that to arrogance.
To again express arrogance. You see, we thought that the cardinal sins of NAPO would end at he insulting the Keita people and saying that they don't deserve a sea defense system. We thought that the cardinal sins of NAPO was going to end at how he arrogantly told us to draw our doomsday timetable. We thought that the cardinal sins of NAPO was going to end at how he told senior high school students to defecate in a poly bag if they wanted. We thought this cardinal sins was going to end at he just being corrupt at the procurement of mass sets at the cost of 75 cedis when you could get it at 15 cedis. Little did we know that as part of his 11th cardinal sin, he was going to stand on a podium and insult Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. You see, when Bernard was giving history to Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, there were new things, I must confess, I was hearing. And for a moment, I think we need to set NAPO down together, unanimously. Let's put politics aside. Let's sit him down and advise him. He needs help.
What kind of help?
I think Matthew Opoku Prempeh needs help.
What kind of help?
He needs someone to speak to him. He needs someone to tell him that, look, this is not who a vice president or a statesman should be. He needs help. You see, when you see your brother suffering, sometimes don't think that because he's your opponent, you will just allow him to go and damage himself like that. Yesterday, he was damaged beyond repair. What he did on the podium, I'm wondering how they're going to buff him again. Because he dirtied himself. And
you want to help him as the opposition party. I thought you were looking to come into power. So shouldn't you be excited if you think that what he said was wrong?
I will never be happy if my colleague human being dirties himself that way. I will never.
All right.
I am so compassionate, and I think that we need to set him down. Look, we have tried changing Bawumia, but it hasn't worked. We have advised him on a number of occasions to stop lying. It hasn't worked. But I think that we may still have a chance with NAPO. This ticket cannot be as condemned as it is. At least, as our opponent, we expect that you meet us halfway. Look, 2 days ago,
I wanted you to land because my time is up. I really want us to go to free SHS just for a minute.
I could add that.
Okay.
I could add that. You see, to land on this and then I'll add that. 2 days ago, you were at Kempiski. You couldn't make it. They understand you were busy.
Yes, I wasn't available. Journalists were there.
Yeah. And we had very insightful conversations. President Mahama answered their questions. And the next day I watched your platforms. Every journalist was happy. Every Ghanaian was happy. Because they listened to a nation builder speak. And then just 2 days, you spoil our appetite this way. On the matter of free SHS, I listened to President Akufo-Addo.
Just briefly, so
say that he needed a stone. A stone.
Just give him
for
a stone.
The commencement of free SHS. If we are meant to give people spoons for even achievements, and I'll even explain why this is not his achievement, he would have been giving President Mahama 2 trips of chippings every day. Every day. Before President Mahama wakes up, Akufo-Addo should just load stones in a truck. 2 trips every morning because of the number of stones President Mahama ought to receive. Free SHS. How did it become President Akufo-Addo's baby? What was commenced in 2016, 2017? Was progressive free SHS that had already been commenced. And this is the budget. I'm going to read this, please. For the first time, let's set the record straight and let's end the debate here. This is the 2016 budget. Anybody can download it. Paragraph 653. And I hope President Akufo-Addo is listening. Please say, end your tenure as being a chief clearing agent of corruption. End as being the mother serpent of corruption. Leave the lion tag to Bawumia. Don't come for it. Listen to this, please. Paragraph 653. Mr. Speaker, in fulfillment of the constitutional provision of making secondary education progressively free, His Excellency the President, that is His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, launched the Progressive Free Secondary Education Program at Otumfuo Otuam. And Bella, you have the video when he launched it. When you came in 2017, you continued with what President Mahama had launched. And on the day of the program, when journalists asked President Mahama, he was emphatic that, how can I give birth and throw my baby away? I birthed progressive free SHS. How can I go against it? Free SHS has come to stay and it will never be changed. So please, if there is anyone in this country who deserves a stone for the commencement of progressive free SHS,
okay,
it should be President Mahama. In other words, who even put that progressive free SHS in our constitution? It was under the NDC.
But was it not berated by the NDC in many instances?
Yes.
Which is why the president is saying that all of a sudden, free SHS seems to be, the golden baby, which is why you are laying claim to it.
Yes, we spoke, we still stand by that position. That Nanado lied that he was going to make education free at all levels at once, and that was his promise.
Okay.
We told the Ghanaian people he was going to continue the progressively free, and indeed, when he came, that was what he commenced.
Let Mr. Bernard come in.
I would say that, I will just conclude on this. I would say that elections are coming. people should look at policy. People should look at demeanor. People should look at conduct.
All right.
As for Bawumia and NAPO, they are a ticket that should never come near presidency in this country.
Allow Bernard
because we
to
have
speak
seen
as
them
well.
and we know they are condemned.
Thank you, Malik. Mr. Bernard Mona, so for you, I mean, with regards to, why have you done that to your face? With regards to the statement that the president made yesterday, asking former President John Dramani Mahama to give him his stone because he implemented free SHS and now the former president is laying claim to it. What do you say to that?
First and foremost, I just think that probably, whilst I congratulated the MPP, Dr. Bawumia, for the magnificent event, I think that it's important to state that the Vice President will not be happy. And the Vice President's father, Alhaji Mumuni Bawumia, will not be happy to see or to hear that his son chose somebody who decided to bastardize the man he loved and served so much. Alhaji Mumuni Bawumia served Kwame Nkrumah to the core and worked so tirelessly alongside Kwame Nkrumah. He was actually part of the team that went all the way towards the Upper Volta Den, where the bomb at Kunungugu was planted. Mumuni Bawumia was part of it. It's important that when you are dealing, you should know the history even of your boss, because I'm not sure that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will go the tangent of wanting to undermine the successes that Kwame Nkrumah chalked for this country. Now, on free SHS,
A minute,
there is
please.
no doubt that President Akufo-Addo expanded what was in place. Growing up as a young person, my parents did not pay secondary school education fees.
Okay. It was free?
It was free. And I attended secondary school education for free. And many of my contemporaries will attest to that.
Where was this?
This was in Laura Secondary School and in Tamale Secondary
It was for
School.
free?
It was for free. Absolutely free. So therefore, if there was an expansion, you can say that if there was not a start, there could not have been an expansion. Akufo-Addo did well by expanding the frontiers of the free education. But in that expansion also came with it a lot of difficulties that we are currently bedeviled with.
Okay.
Are we looking at how to correct them?
So it shouldn't be about who is laying claim, but it should rather be about what we're doing to fix the challenges that we...
Absolutely,
Okay.
because John Mahama, I'm sure, enjoyed free education himself.
So it wasn't started under the NDC, is that what you're saying?
This was started by Kwame Nkrumah, and I told you how education reluctantly got into the northern part of the country.
So the former president is also wrong by laying claim, or for laying claim to the start of free SHS?
This was northern education, free northern education.
Hold on.
We're talking about education, whether
Yes.
it's northern or it's western or it's eastern or it's southern or it's central. It is free education.
So he shouldn't also lay claim to it?
No one can lay claim to it.
All right.
In any case, if you read Article 25 of our Constitution, which is under fundamental human rights, it talks about making education free.
All right.
To what extent have we achieved that? And that's why always I blame Parliament. That if you go to Parliament, 2 years after coming into force of the 1992 Constitution, a comprehensive policy on education, how to realize Article 25, is contained in Article 38 of the Constitution.
All right.
What has Parliament done so far?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Bernard Mona. And King Kobe says that which record? You were part of those who were singing free SHS, 419 free SHS. I remember seeing you and Mr. Sami Jefi carrying chop box. Okay, I don't know what that means, but anyway. Well, my condolences to Bernard and Doctor's family. This is from NewDay Ni Atukwe. And yes, from all of us as well, our condolences to you and the rest of the family. Our beautiful country is destroyed by the elephants, even our beautiful history that we have. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah is the greatest. And just a quick one. So, good morning, Akora. NAPO's arrogance and frankly moronic utterances. Okay, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I read it before I realized it. But anyway,
you understand it.
I'll leave it at that. And well, I've been speaking to Mr. Bernard Mona, who looks to become the flag bearer for the PNC. We're waiting for the elections.
The next president of Ghana. When you hear comments like this,
the next president of Ghana, Your Excellency.
People will misspeak.
Bernard Mona.
And anger the society.
Hey, she's a former chairman for the PNC, and also Malik Basintale is the deputy National Communications Director for the NDC. And earlier you heard from Professor Godwin Eche Sika Anku, who is an international media political analyst and communication analyst. Roland Walker, like I mentioned earlier, is out today for Community Manifesto. He's at La Paz Kaneshi Station, which is within the Okankwes Central constituency. And so we'll do some sports and we'll get back. We will definitely be there. We intend to travel across the country. So we'll be everywhere. For those of you who are asking about the Volta region, no, we are coming. We are coming like a kai.